episode of Anderson Ad Break. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm Maddie. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about all things YouTube, how it's stayed dominant in our culture through media, through trends, how it's helped produce viral content, and how it's really changed the game for long and short form content. Sam, we both have been on the internet since the dawn of time, at least from when we were born and we could get access. I just remember YouTube for me was such a big part of growing up. I was on YouTube, after middle school, I would go home and go on the family computer and go on YouTube to see what new music videos and what new trends were happening. How about you? I think that was pretty a similar experience.
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just a little bit older than you, getting our first computer, and the only games we could play were on a disc, and we would have to connect to the AOL dial-up, and we could only play Minesweeper and the pinball game. Eventually, I did start watching YouTube, but I don't think it was until I was in high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always forget about our age gap. But so yeah, I was in middle school, you were in high school. But the way that YouTube literally has changed our life is so fascinating. So that's why we want to do an episode on it today. So we're going to kind of dive into the YouTube lore. I want to kind of set the stage for those who maybe don't know, that didn't experience the rise of YouTube. It was founded in February of 2005 by founders Chad Hurley, Steve Chan, and Joeed Karim. It was an ad-free platform, and it was just purely user-generated content. YouTube was just a place for people to share their whatever. It was kind of like the TikTok of the time, I want to say. It was for whatever people wanted to upload. If you had a camera, not a lot of people had video cameras in 2005, at least, that they would update and generate content. They no one had a platform to upload those videos to. So it was revolutionary. I mean, I think some of the early viral hits that at least that I remember was Charlie Bit My Finger, Purple Rain. These are still things that we remember in our culture and are nostalgic now. And it's it was from YouTube.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I remember when Charlie Bit My Finger was so popular, everyone was running around school oh no, Charlie, you bit my finger.
It was intertwined in the day to day. It was insane.
And it's in a way, that's kind of how memes started, where it's
absolutely,
now everyone quotes memes in their day to day. I remember where you can see something on the internet and then you can go to school the next day and start telling all your friends about it, and everyone already knows what you're talking about.
I know, and it was amazing. And so that's what I'm saying. It was so ingrained in us. You wanted to jump online, watch YouTube so that you could keep up and you could talk to your friends about it and you could make jokes. And I think that was a key change in culture. It kind of democratized the internet in a way, because YouTube gave viewers control over the content rather than relying on the website owners to provide the content for them. This was something where it was. And the algorithm, I think this is something so key that people forget with YouTube. YouTube's algorithm was game changing. I mean, it was based off of viewers and the length of how long people would watch the video versus the amount of followers you had or whatever. And you couldn't pay to promote your content at the time, which really changed the game.
It was all organic.
Because
at the end of the day, it's the Charlie Bit My Finger video were just two little kids, and probably their parents were the ones that posted that to YouTube, but it just got so much traction that eventually pretty much the whole world saw that video. And it's that's so much harder to do on other platforms, especially YouTube right now, because there's so much paid content. So
absolutely,
unless you're subscribed or you hear about it on other social media platforms, it's so hard to go viral on YouTube organically.
Absolutely. And I think that was what was so game changing about YouTube's algorithm. And I think what I want to talk about, because they would suggest content. People on the platform and get their content out there in a way that hadn't really been done before on any other social platforms. I mean, we had Facebook, which was, posts and content like that. And, you had fewer followers, but YouTube was worldwide. Anyone could access it. You could see people's videos in, Germany and in, Brazil. It's really crazy. And I think it's cool to reflect on the algorithm's role and how YouTube differentiated it, because now every other social media platform does what YouTube did, having that user-generated suggested content. Instagram does it now, Facebook does it now, any other platform, TikTok, you name it. And then going back to the algorithm, just the way it prioritized the content, it was prioritizing watch time over just clicks. So that helped the shift in strategy where creators themselves, people that were posting on the site, were focused on producing longer, more engaging videos to keep viewers watching for extended periods, impacting the type of content produced. So I think that's why, if you question like, why did YouTube become so successful? Why do we have such incredible content? I mean, there's videos on YouTube that should be movies. There are incredible artists out there.
Yeah. Back in the early days, even though anybody could just post whatever video that they wanted, there were still like some regulations. But for the most part, anybody could just like, if they had a school project, if they wanted to explore trying to use animations.
I think that's what kind of goes into, obviously, throughout the years, as everyone knows, the terms and conditions has changed and there's a lot more rules now, as there should be, but yeah, it was a generally safe platform that you could upload content to. And so I think a big thing with YouTube, I think we all kind of like the early days, the algorithm, how it really set it apart and how it really inspired other platforms is so incredible. But like, let's talk about YouTubers. Let's talk about YouTube, advertising, content evolution, and like the birth of YouTubers. Like that is basically the stem of influencers.
YouTubers were the first to become those influencers.
I think what's interesting about YouTube as well is it inspired platforms like Facebook to, in 2007, add video content to their platform. So in 2006, Google acquired YouTube for $1.65 billion, and that set the stage for an advertising integration. So then in 2007, ads were introduced on YouTube officially, and that rolled out through the Google AdSense program, which allowed for display ads and banners. As we work in advertising, we love YouTube. We love it as a marketing platform. It's incredible. As a viewer, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, why does this podcast have 37 ads interrupting this video?
Yeah.
And I think that goes to show maybe they're not using that feature correctly. I digress.
Or you can pay and not see the ads.
Or you can pay and not see the ads.
I feel like most people just use the free version.
It's still user-friendly enough. And then in 2008, YouTube launched the partner program, allowing content creators to earn revenue from ads shown on their videos. So 2008 was an insane year if we think about it. That was when these people who had been posting on YouTube for several years could actually be like, I can make a career out of this now. I can get ads and I can get paid to post on a platform. And I think YouTube was revolutionary for that.
Yes.
That is revolutionary. And that is why I think YouTube is just such a dominant part in the social media landscape and culture. Creators could share ad revenue from ads played before or alongside their content. And so then this opened the door for successful like marketing campaigns to be viable for influencers, as we know. But back then we didn't call them influencers. We called them YouTubers because that was just synonymous with it,
And now we kind of just all put them into a bucket and just call them creators.
Yeah.
So it's like you can be like a TikTok creator, a YouTuber.
So even the terminology
Influencer.
throughout the year has changed just based off the capabilities of new platforms and more people being able to do what YouTubers did back in the day. And so then this opened, to live streaming and monetization. So building the creator economy. And so if you don't really know what the creator economy is, it's an ecosystem of creators, individuals who monetize their content, their skills, and their personal brand online. And it heavily applies to those platforms we mentioned before: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, and then they earn revenue. So through brand partnerships, through the ads on the site. And so that is the creator economy, right? Because that is in itself now its own industry, which is crazy.
Do we know like how much the creator economy, like what that revenue is?
Let's look it up.
I'm curious to know.
In 2025.
Maybe like 2024.
In 2024. Oh yeah.
Do you want to take a guess how much
So it's in the
creator
bills.
economy market that's valued in just 2024 alone? Take a guess.
3 billion?
Way up.
30?
Way up. 250 billion in 2024 alone. And that's crazy because in 2023, it was estimated at only 100 billion. So just between 2023 and 2024, it skyrocketed. And this is insane. It's projected to reach $1.4 trillion by 2034.
I think trust, brand safety through shopping on the internet has changed. I think Amazon is a really big revolutionary in the whole online shopping experience. And I just think adding, we have like a TikTok shop, or we just have more every creator I think we know has a merch shop, or goes on tour, podcasts go on tour now, and they go to they play venues, they play colleges, I think there's so many types of revenue streams now for creators, because we have talked about before, is influencers have kind of now become like mini celebrities. So there's so many more revenue streams.
Yeah.
For
and
them.
It's just crazy. I know we talked about this in one of our past episodes, but there are just so many tiers now to just influencers. There's like macro and micro, and
absolutely,
it's just crazy, the different tiers, and it's just kind of all based on followers, but it doesn't even matter where you fall on that influencer tier, because it's like the beautiful thing about creators right now is that you can have a very niche market, but you can still make so much money off of social media.
Absolutely.
There are podcasters that you listen to and you love, and they're very successful, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know who that is. And sometimes I'll tell you about my favorite, and they're also very successful, but they're like, you're also like, I don't know who that is, because it's like just very niche markets.
And I think that is the beautiful thing about the online space and the community that YouTube has created. And I think it's a great point. YouTube has created a community. It has created a space for everyone can partake in. And I think that's why YouTube has been so successful. The algorithm, the community, the economy that it's created. I mean, YouTube helped generate a new type of business model, which is why I think it's such an important, kind of case study to look at, and how the beginnings and how important that algorithm that they created has affected now. I mean, 20 years later, we're looking at multi-billion-dollar economy.
Yeah. And just 30 years, trillion-dollar economy.
That is incredible.
My brain can't fathom that much money.
I think that's why I was stuttering for a second. I was like, what? I mean, and we also think YouTube not only did that, but then like we talked about, like they influenced other platforms. They influenced not only platforms that had already been created, but net new ones for the purpose of YouTube. What I'm trying to talk about is like a website like Patreon, where literally YouTubers, to create another source of revenue stream on top of, you're already doing brand partnerships on YouTube, you're already watching ads on YouTube, but then you can go to Patreon and have a subscription for people to then pay for content. And then you can do brand partnerships there and whatnot. So I think it's created an insane type of community that is, I think, especially for our generation, is so ingrained in us. I think we kind of forget to take the 10 steps back and really look at why we are here and what were the reasons that we got here.
YouTube has stayed on top because they pivoted. When Vine became popular and then it turned into Musical.ly, and then TikTok started gaining a lot of traction, that's when YouTube pivoted and moved on to YouTube Shorts. So now you cannot upload a short video for more than 60 seconds, because then that'll just be like a regular YouTube video. They have also capitalized on their short and long form content, which is like really smart, because they're really good at pivoting and making sure how to like stay relevant. And even though like Instagram has tried to incorporate Reels and Facebook has tried to incorporate Reels, they're not as popular as YouTube Shorts.
No. And they launched YouTube Shorts in 2020 in competition with those other sites. I feel like with any new addition to an app, I think we all see on social media people, hating on it, well, whatever. I think we had the same thing with YouTube Shorts. Oh, what is this really going to do? YouTube is for long form content. But YouTube Shorts are very successful, and they're actually, they're pretty user friendly.
YouTube Shorts is very intuitive. So it's like you just scroll through and it's like very much like TikTok.
YouTube Shorts have now helped their own creators go viral in a different format. These YouTubers or people who are posting on YouTube are probably already have another app that has short form content. So might as well have them utilize that content on their platform. That's a very intelligent way, because, they're like, okay, well, they're already making it, so let's have them make it and also post it on, our account to help people keep using their app and their platform. And so their uniqueness to balance both long form and short form viral content is really, really unique to the landscape. We're avid YouTube lovers. We love podcasts. YouTube has kind of now, I think a prediction, if I could make one, is YouTube is going to become super more like podcast friendly, and there's going to be some new features for that, and maybe some ways that the YouTube app will have their own integration. I think they're already doing that with some things, but I think there's just going to be so many new features coming out specifically for podcasts. That's one of my predictions.
My prediction is maybe they can follow the lines of TikTok or Instagram Reels, where you can like go go in, maybe like add filters or like add like copy, like maybe just have just more editing.
Yeah, just more editing capabilities.
Yeah, more editing
for sure.
capabilities.
All right, Sam. To end this lovely YouTube episode today, I kind of want to go over just our personal anecdotes. YouTube is basically like my friend at this point because I've known her my whole life. I mean, it was started in 2005. I think I probably started watching YouTube in like 2007 when we got like a home computer and stuff. So everything in our culture is like a big statement to say, but it's influenced so much of our culture, so much of how we were brought up, how we talk, how we dress, how we behave, the memes we share, you know, the interpersonal connections that we got through viral content, viral videos. And I just think it's insane, like a platform like YouTube has really set the stage for viral content.
YouTube has been revolutionary for video content, whether you have the skills to create, film, edit, and produce your own videos, or maybe you're just an everyday person and you're using YouTube for like school projects or just like with your friends and being silly. It's like anybody in any industry, any market can use YouTube. And I think that's what's so beautiful.
Perfectly said, Sam. I couldn't have said it better. Please make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels and make sure to like and subscribe.
And rate us 5 stars wherever you watch or listen to this podcast. See you next time.
Bye.
Anderson Ad Break is on all major platforms, so tune in wherever you get your podcasts or check out the video version of each episode on YouTube.
Like and subscribe to stay in the loop. You won't want to miss what's next.